I think it's a lot of things like from the past mostly. I think there's a lot of old grudges. I think there's a lot of old biases. And I think there's a lot of unresolved issues that are kind of tainting how people react or see him now sometimes because he's been nothing but like nice and helpful to anybody that wants it. Like, and I know there's underlying like animosity between like once you're in wrestling for so long and especially at the top of it, there's going to be guys that don't get along because you're all vying for the same thing. You all want the same title and egos are going to hit. Like it's inevitable. It's like I know there's going to be old tension, but as far as like how he is as a person now, he couldn't be more inviting. He couldn't be more company oriented as far as like what he's thinking and anything to the contrary. I would really, I think it's uneducated to go off of it because there's only been one side really that's all been the negative stuff. And he hasn't even really commented on it publicly because he's not going to give it that much time of day and that much notoriety because it doesn't deserve it. But I will say, like, especially if there's two sides to every story, and then somewhere in the middle, that's the truth. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. He's been nothing but a great person, a great mentor to a lot of guys there, somebody who wants the best for the company. Like, that's why he's wanting the biggest houses, the biggest gates, the most fans in the arena. And so it's just, I don't know, I think it's just going to be one of those things where time will tell. Over time, you'll see that he has been well-meaning. He has been doing some good stuff. And like I said, anything to the contrary is, in my opinion, just people being childish and behaving like middle schoolers.
Yeah, and insecurity. I'm not going to speak much on them because all that was perfectly put. But I'll tell you this: like, what's the better headline? CM Punk goes into business for himself and shoots on somebody or whatever, or CM Punk invites Will Hobbs into his locker room and explains to him for 30 minutes what he could have done to better himself for the match earlier. Or if the headline says CM Punk goes to Dan Housen, who came to him and asked for advice, watched his match, and then CM Punk gave him notes of advice of what he could do to better the match next time. Or if Brock Anderson says, hey, do you mind watching our tag match tonight? And CM Punk sits there, even though he's got a busy night, and watches it and says, hey, come into my locker room. Anybody else want to come into my locker room? Let's talk about this. What's the better headline? The more juicy headline is the one of him being going into business for himself.
The old Punk. And it's not.
The old Punk. And right now, I think I can safely say he's one of our best friends because we all share the same passion for professional wrestling. And sometimes passion gets mistaken for being an asshole, because you just want the best. And he wants the best for AEW. He wants the best for himself as well. We all do, but he wants the best for AEW, and he puts AEW above himself. And I haven't met too many guys who has the love and passion for professional wrestling that he has. And I'll close on CM Punk with this and we'll move on. I wish a lot of the guys would look at it instead of saying, oh my God, this guy from WWE is here in AEW and he might be taking my spot, to saying, oh my God, this is a legit Hall of Fame background guy who has drawn money, who's made money for a big company, who doesn't want to go back to the big company.
And who came from nothing, made something of himself.
Let me work with him. And even if he's beating me, let me work with him, and that'll put me as a bigger star.